This is the first video that I'm making from my new apartment. If you don't know already, I have been between moving my apartments, still in California, still in the Bay Area, but it's been a wild ride and I had so much stuff to pack, then unpack. All of the books that you see here in the background, this bookshelf is now a little bit further out from my previous setup, but I did try to keep the setup intact, sort of the same as I had in my previous apartment, because I also like familiarity in between all the changes that keeps happening. And I'm sure you guys also would like to see the same bookshelf in the background as you usually do. And I have not been able to read a lot of books, not been able to do a lot of reading in the 2 weeks that I was really keeping my head down, making sure all the things are packed and repacked and all is settled. Now I feel very settled. My books are in the bookshelf again. Here, there, and I'm thinking of buying a new bookshelf because this apartment has a little bit more space than my previous apartment. So I will have more space to keep furniture and I probably will buy some more books. With that out of the way, I want to get into today's video, and without further ado, let's get into it. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Pooja at a book by the window. If you're new here, I am Pooja, a 30-year-old software engineer working in California. I also happen to love reading a lot, and I do often talk about the books that I like. So if you are someone who is interested in that type of content, please follow me, subscribe to the channel. And if you're an old subscriber tuning in to the usual videos, I welcome you back here with a warm hug. I hope you are getting to read the books that you want to read and everything is good in your life. Today, I have something very personal to share with you all. It's a list of 10 books I recommend if you want to understand your mental health better. If you have been following my journey for somewhat, I share my journey a lot on my Instagram. The link to it is going to be in the description box below. I also happen to have another channel where I talk more about my life and my tryst with my mental health. That's also going to be in the description box below. But if you have been following me for long, you would know that how important I feel mental health is for everyone and how it was an important thing to inculcate in my life to be able to take care of my mental health. And I am always a champion of telling people that you should take care of your mental health no matter what. Because if that health is taken care of, you can always go after your goals, go after the things that you want to. But if it's not there, then it's just really a really bad feeling, and no amount of money, no amount of success is gonna fix that for you. So you should have your foundations right. And this is why I'm also sitting here, because I decided at one point in my life that I'm going to take care of my mental health very strongly. And it's been a wonderful journey for me. And in that journey, I was reading a lot of books that helped me feel related to the condition, to the situation that I found myself in. And just hearing the stories of other people and understanding my mental health better helped me come to a process where I just take this as something that is missing in my life, and it's not me who has something wrong in my head, but it's more so a culmination of events, traumas, and my internal emotion and my genetic makeup that leads up to some situations in your life. And once you understand these things better, I'm sure you feel well equipped to tackle it and come out stronger and better at the end of it. So this is my list of books that I have read through a journey of the last 5 years, and they have helped me understand my mental health better. I hope this list also helps you. And if it does, at the end of the video, please like it, share it with your friends and family. And I do see that a lot of people are not subscribed yet to this channel. If you find this channel useful, valuable in your life, I would encourage you to subscribe to this channel. And let's get into the list now. You will learn to cope with the world again, slowly but surely, in ways you never imagined possible. First up on the list is Matt Haig's Reason to Stay Alive. This book is really close to my heart. Matt Haig doesn't just share his personal experience with depression, but offers hopes and ways to find a purpose in life, even on your darkest days. If you're really looking for a book that validates your struggles, but also guides you towards light, this book is going to be for you. It's a piece of non-fiction, and Matt Haig is just documenting his journey and thoughts like a journal in this book. I really connected with this book very deeply. It came at a time where I really needed a book like this, and it felt like a warm hug in the words that I was reading. Matt Haig's writing is raw, honest, and most importantly, helpful and hopeful. The best thing about life, I think, is that it is always surprising. Even when you have a bad time, there is always something to surprise you. Next on the list is A.M. and the Big Hoom by Jerry Pinto. This is a very special book set in an Indian context. The story is about a mother who struggles with her mental health and the emotional toll that it takes on the entire family. It's a love story of sorts, not just between husband and wife, but also between the different members of the family, and how important mental health is like a bond to keep everyone together. And if it doesn't exist, how much it affects the family to the core, because all of the family members love each other. And when they see a member of the family struggling so much, the whole family drowns, and it's a love of a different kind. It is very raw, it is very real, and you will feel very deeply affected by it. This book really hit me in a different way because it just doesn't show that mental health affect one individual, but as a collective community, as a collective entity, as a family. The dynamics in the family felt very real, and I truly believe it is a book that stays with you long after you are done reading the last page. I took a deep breath and listened to the old bray of my heart. I am, I am, I am. This is a favorite quote from one of my favorite novel, The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. This book is often called a classic for a reason. This novel really truly explores the descent into mental illness, especially from the perspective of someone who is dealing with depression. It is from the perspective of the protagonist, Esther Greenwood. It is haunting, it is poetic, it leaves you with an impression, with a very deep impact of how society's standard and pressure can affect the mental health of an individual. I remember feeling like Esther's struggle were my own, and it is also a very traumatic book and one that holds the potential to trigger you a lot. It is not for the weak-hearted. Everyone knows Sylvia Plath's writing is deeply haunting, and she herself went through a lot of mental health struggle eventually that led to her demise. And even then, even with her sad story, the quote, I am, I am, I am, is something that gave me strength and helped me listen to my inner self, helped me find that inner strength within myself to be able to keep my heart and soul running. And such is the beauty of words. I will recommend this book to you if you want to feel like these struggles are very real and all of the individual. We as humans go through these emotions at some point in our life. She had learned, like a lot of people do, that life is full of tragedies, some of which you don't survive. Now let's talk about the book. Everything Here is Beautiful by Meera T. Lee. This novel tells the story of two sisters. One is struggling with schizophrenia and the other is taking care of her. Now I have a sister. She is like my shadow. She is my other half in a way. And reading about this book, reading this story just struck up a different kind of emotion in me, because there was a point in time where my sister was taking care of me and I wasn't really doing good. And just to see your loved one go through that is a strength of different kind, one that a lot of people do not hold up to. It is a gripping narrative about the complexities of mental illness, the dynamics in a family, and the blurry lines between love and responsibility. This book really did show me the mirror of the other side. What does it mean to take care of someone who you love who is going through mental illness? The emotional toll it takes, the movement of beauty and hope amidst the chaos, and how mental health is such a multifaceted experience. It cannot be one size fit all. It is not black and white. The thing about depression is that you don't really care about anything else anymore. You can't even take pleasure in things that used to make you happy. It's kind of those books that blend humor with heartache. This young adult novel gives us a window into the life of a young individual, a teenager who is battling depression. And while the story is heartbreaking, it is also uplifting and humorous. It is a very honest portrayal of the ups and downs of depression, and it really does show that sometimes you need to laugh through the pain. I remember feeling like the protagonist, Craig, was speaking directly to me. Sometimes the best way to deal with your hard days is to find humor in the things that honestly feel unimaginable. How did you come here? And a little laugh helps you break the tension, helps you feel like a human again. It is a book that perfectly portrays a good mix of randomness in life, of real struggles that we get to live in this life, and a mix of lighter moments. Maybe you need to see the world in a completely different way to really understand it. Darius the Great is Not Okay by Adeep Khurram is another fantastic book that touches on mental health through the eyes of the protagonist Darius, a teenager who is struggling with depression and he constantly feels like he's an outsider. It is a very beautiful exploration of family, identity, and finding your place in this world. What I loved most about the book is that Darius' account and his story felt very real, very relatable, like how a teenager would go through in early years of puberty, and someone who is given depression in his genetic code. His father also experiences depression and he has to take medication for it. And just because of that fact, he has to also be really careful about his own mental health. And this is a struggling point for individuals who struggle with their mental health, trying to accept their destiny. This is a thing that my therapist told me once and it has stuck with me. We really do not crib, or we really do not complain when we are given features and beauty and really good health coming down in our genes from our parents, but we really do crib and complain about the facts that are supposedly faulty because we feel we deserve all the good things, and which is human nature, which is fine. But when you understand that this is very random and it is just something that is out of anyone's control, what genes you are given, then you truly understand that this is something that you have to deal with in your life. But even then, life can be really beautiful in different ways if you learn to manage your health well. Memory once lost is never really regained. It changes you. Seventh book in the list is Mrs. C Remembers by Julia R. Williams. This is a very poignant book about aging, memory loss, and the mental health struggles that come with it. As Mrs. C battles dementia, the book dwells into how the mind deteriorates when you age, and with time, it just keeps getting worse. The emotional journey that both the individual and their family member undergoes because of this. This book helps you understand mental health in a new light. Aging and memory loss are not often talked about when we talk about mental health, but this book really opens up that conversation very well. It is a gentle reminder of the fragility of our own minds, but also the beauty in remembering, no matter how imperfectly it is happening at whatever stage or whatever age in your life. The only thing that makes me feel like I am truly alive is when I allow myself to feel all my feelings. Next up, book number 8 is Shaheen Bhatt's I Have Never Been Unhappy. This book is kind of like a journal, a memoir, where Shaheen Bhatt is detailing her experience as someone who has lived her entire life struggling with her mental health. Shaheen's honest and description of her mental health journey is truly a testament to her courage and self-acceptance. This book reminded me of how important it is to confront your own feelings and not to keep them inside, bottled up, not mask them at all. It is something that I feel a lot of us struggle with. A lot of people do not express themselves fully, do not process their feelings, and they bottle up and they come out in ways that you don't understand, no one is able to understand. Before that happens, it is very important to continuously keep taking care of our mental health and to be more expressive, to accept some realities of life and have spaces in our own life where we can decompress, where we can be honest, and it doesn't have to be always about being strong. There is strength in being vulnerable. I always say this. And this whole book is an account of how the protagonist, how Shaheen, how the author is being very honest with herself. And when you read that, you feel a strength in yourself also to be raw and honest with at least yourself, if not the entire world. What happens when people open their heart? They get better. No list in the world is complete without a mention of a Murakami book. If you would have read any of Murakami books, you would know that his characters, the protagonist in his book, do touch upon the subject of mental health here and there, and they have a plethora of emotion going through them as they are going through the journey or the narration. And the book that I'm going to mention is especially special and very popular for being a book that talks about mental health in a very raw and deep manner, one that I also called triggering to a point. And just my fair warning that not everyone should be reading this book, especially at a time when you are not feeling very good and you are seeking medical help. Don't read this book if you are in a situation like that. But if you are in a place where you have more space to read about others' account, then only you should pick this book. The book that I'm talking about is Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami. This book is a melancholic expression of love, heartbreak, grief, and how all of this affects one's mental health. The story resonates with the plethora and the pathos of depression and the complexities that come with unresolved trauma. Murakami's writing always make me feel like I'm floating through someone else's dream, and Norwegian Wood is a very haunting but very beautiful reminder of how our past life affects our present, and it's always going to happen. It is up to us how we handle it and how we learn and how we choose to make it a part of our lives as old wounds or something that just gave us an experience in life. Therapy is where you get to be human and someone listens. With that, we are at the end of the list. Book number 10 in this list is Maybe You Should Talk to Someone by Laurie Gottlieb. This book is a very fascinating blend of memoir and therapy, where Laurie, who is a therapist herself, opens up about her own experience of doing therapy while also sharing stories of her patients. It is very insightful, humorous, and incredibly helpful for someone who want to feel related in this world, even when you go through your own mental health struggles. It's also especially important for people who are considering doing therapy in their own life and they are very skeptical. When you read these accounts, you feel like it's just another process. It is just another thing that you need to do to fix some things in your life, and it shouldn't be so stigmatized as it is today. And it also gives a humorous take on how random your life is, and it is just like going to a doctor to speak to. I also love how the book emphasizes on the fact that therapy is just not for the patients. It is for everyone. Everyone should take care of their mind, even though they are not experiencing some life-changing symptoms. They should still make space and time to honor and hone and harbor good habits for one's own mental health. And therapy is one of them. It truly made me rethink therapy in such a positive way, showing that even therapists need therapists, because mental health is not very easy to maneuver. It is not very easy to fix. It is a very complex thing. This is why we have this science, and we should just treat it like that. So this is my list. This is my recommendation of 10 books that you must read if you want to understand your mental health better. Each of these books offer a very unique perspective, whether it is through fiction or through memoirs, and they can offer some invaluable insight into our mental health, emotional well-being. If any of these books resonate with you too, or if you've already read any books from the list, do let me know in the comment section below. What were your honest opinion about those books, or is there any other book you would like to add to the list? I'm all ears. Don't forget to hit that like button if you truly enjoyed this video. Share it with your friends and family who you think might benefit from this video. And if you're finding this channel really useful, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I come up with these videos every week. I'm very consistent with my videos, and I am this close to getting monetized. So if you can help me do that, please do so today. And with that out of the way, with that said, I truly hope this list is helpful for you. You get to add some books to your TBR that you get some value out of. And with that out of the way, thank you for watching this video so far. I will take your leave for today. Until then, happy reading.